Hello, so this is day 17 now with our Pavlik Harness, and a little bit of a recap on our travelling back yesterday from our holiday in Spain. It wasn't too bad. Max was pretty chill, slept a lot of the time. Freddie, on the other hand, not quite so chill, which actually posed its own problems because usually I think if I was in that situation where I had to tend to sort of my other child, I would have asked sort of a cabin crew or something to maybe just hold Max really quickly so I could go and grab the bag from the overhead locker or something like that. But I didn't want to have to go through that whole explanation of, oh, you have to hold him a certain way, or he's wearing a harness and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't even bother. So that was the only tricky thing really, and then I did notice that the lady sitting next to me was sort of looking over a couple of times, probably wondering why I was holding him in one, a way that he probably looked uncomfortable, and two, sort of with his legs so wide. And it probably wouldn't have taken much for me to explain, but I didn't want to. But I could see her sort of just like looking at me, as it does look sort of a little bit strange. And I know in clothes, it's barely even noticeable most of the time, but in certain angles, or one would think like, is that baby comfortable with his legs so wide? All those sort of things. But aside from that, wasn't too much of an issue really. And then just a bit of an update. I know last time I came on, I mentioned that I was waiting for the physio that we had our video call with to come back to me and let me know if there was anything that she could do in relation to trying to get us a scan earlier than sort of 3 weeks time. And she sort of came back and said I just would need to discuss it when we went for our appointment on Monday, and then maybe again on Thursday. She did reassure me that she doesn't think that what we've done with Max would have caused any real problem. But you know, of course, I'm gonna worry about it. I asked if she had any other suggestions of things that we can do before our appointment, just to sort of get the harness better, because it is just still slipping. And she basically said no, the harness just doesn't fit. She did suggest that we potentially take Max's vest off, as that may be causing a little bit of twisting. But you know, I'm reluctant to do that, given you know we go tomorrow now for that appointment, and his skin sort of was getting sore really quickly, and especially now I know that it's too tight under his armpits, it's no doubt gonna sort of rub even more, and the last thing I want is him to be more uncomfortable with really sore skin in that sort of armpit crease. So I'll probably just leave it, you know, it's only another 24 hours. She did sort of just say whenever we're sort of changing his nappy or whatever, try and just give the chest strap a little bit of a wiggle round to the side, which will ultimately compromise the left leg. But because the right leg was worse, we'd prefer that one to be strapped up in sort of the optimum position, if that makes sense. So we're just going to keep doing that. Max does actually have his 12-week immunisations in the morning, literally just before we go for his harness adjustment. So he's going to be being pulled from pillar to post tomorrow, so I'm not expecting him to be super happy. But yeah, that's about it. We're just going to be doing sort of normal things that you do today when you get back from holiday. Tons and tons of washing to do and putting away, but it's nice to be home, nice to be back in our normal space. And now we're just gonna sort of get ready for the week. So I'll check back in tomorrow once we've been to our appointments and sort of just update you. You know, if anybody's got any tips on sort of what I should be saying, like to get what I want. Like I know I'm sort of entitled to request sort of things, but when I did speak to somebody on the phone, in the physio department, she did just say, oh well, you know, we're quite backed up for scans, and I sort of responded in a more polite way, but basically said, with all due respect, if my son needs a scan, he needs a scan if his hips haven't been where they should be, and I'm not gonna sort of wait and just hope they haven't got worse if we could have intervened. But yeah, so I'll check back in tomorrow after those appointments and just sort of update you. But yeah, fingers crossed we we get what we want, and we'll come home with a nice new harness, a scan booked in, and then we'll know exactly sort of where we are as we go into week 3. But yeah, catch you later.